Takadosh Boker Or Masechet Sanhedrin Daf He Amud Aleph 85a1. We just finished off by mentioning that according to Shtat Rabbi Shimon, Melachat Shin Tzechel Gufa is going to be patur, and therefore, since according to Shtat Rabbi Shimon, Chovel Bechaveru is a Melachat Shin Tzechel Gufa. Meaning, when you come and you hit your friend, it's not going to do. It's mekalkel. It's going to be something bad. Okay, morning. Okay, fine. Baumine. So Baumine and Rav Sheshat. So they came and they asked a question from Rav Sheshat. Ben, Maushi Yaseh Shliach Laviv, Lakoto Ulkalelo. Is a son allowed to be a shaliach for his father, to be mekalel, or to hit, right? For example, meaning, let's say right now he was chayav malkut. He could give malkut to his father, or for example, lekalel. When we're talking about now that he's going to be chayav niduin and bedin, right? Is he allowed to come and to put it, that he puts him into the niduin or not? Okay, so Amar lehu, so he comes and he says, ve'acher, and somebody else, mi hitzro, who's going to come and who's going to permit it? So he says, ela shekvar shamayim, right? Kvod shamayim adif, achanam kvod shamayim adif. Meaning, here you have kvod shamayim, which is going to be adif, then the kavod, right, of how do you call this? Of the parents. So that's what you want to come and you want to say. Okay. Meitvei. So we're going to ask the following question. ומה מי שמצווה להכותו, מצווה שלא להכותו, מי שאינו מצווה להכותו, אינו דין שמצווה שלא להכותו? He says, one second. When you have a mitzvah to hit someone, and you're commanded, right? If you right now, you're commanded to hit, you're mitzvah lo להכותו, here, right? If you're not mitzvah להכותו, shouldn't it be the kal vachomer then that you should be, right? שמצווה שלא להכותו? Which means, if right now we're learning a kal vachomer that just like there's a person that you're not allowed to hit him, and we don't know who we're talking about. So obviously here, you're obviously not allowed to hit him. So my lover, we're not talking about idiv mitzvah, that it's still a mitzvah. One of them is the son, and one's about somebody else, which means if it's going to be the son, even though technically he's got a mitzvah here, he's mitzuveh lakoto, because now the betin have to hit him. But here, in a regular case, you're not allowed to because it's a son. So therefore, this is a proof that even a son cannot be the shliach to exact the retribution against his father when he's permitted to. Because here, technically, he's the shliach betin. It's not that all of a sudden the guy comes, right, and all of a sudden he becomes shliach betin today just to give to his father on the head. You know, he was waiting all the time to give to his father on the head. All of a sudden, I became shliach betin today, and now I'm going to give lashes, right? No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about he was already shliach betin for the past 10 years. And all of a sudden now the father did something, then now he's going to be chayav malkut. So the question is now the shliach betin, which is the son, is he allowed to hit the father? So the question is that permitted or prohibited? So here what we're trying to say is that obviously it should be prohibited because it's the son. So answers the Gemara, no. In both cases, there's no difference between the son or somebody else. And it's not a question. It all depends whether it's a mitzvah or not a mitzvah. This is what it means to say. ומה במקום מצווה, מצווה להכותו, מצווה שלא להכותו, שלא במקום מצווה שאינו מצווה להכותו, אינו דין שמצווה שלא להכותו? He says like this, if right now we're talking about שלא במקום מצווה, what happens if a person comes and he hits his father? Stam. So that's not a mitzvah, right? So therefore, we said, even if he's going to be chayav to hit the father because of the malkut, right? Still, it should be a mitzvah שלא להכותו. You shouldn't hit him, right? Why? Because you cannot give him more than what he's allowed to. Like this, I'm going to ask you a question. A person is obligated 39 lashes. Can I give him 40? No, why not? Exactly. Not only because the guy could have received 100, 150. You're not going to kill. Right? There's an isur, right? There's an isur to give extra lashes. Why? Because he's a tzaddik. Meaning, right? When you have to come and you're not allowed to add on to something because he's a tzaddik. So if you're going to come and you're going to start giving him an extra lashes, you're actually obligated, right? You're right. In Acharami, if you kill him and everything, obviously you're going to be obligated and other things like that. If you made a mistake, that's something different. But if you're not allowed to. Exactly. The second that he goes to kapara, now he's a tzaddik. How are you going to? And by the way, from there, the Rambam learns it's a kavachom. You're not allowed to hit your friend. Because he says, if a person was obligated lashes, and I'm not allowed to come and I'm not allowed to add an extra lash, meaning I'm not allowed to give him 40 instead of 39, Kal v'chomer at tzaddik from the beginning, that he was never obligated lashes, Kal v'chomer, you're not allowed to come and give your friend lashes. Imagine I come to my friend, and I come and said, boom, and I give it to him right, you give it to him. Yeah. You should. So now, obviously, it's not going to work, right? Right? Fine. So says the Gemara, right? ומה במקום מצווה שמצווה להכותו, מצווה שלא להכותו, שלא במקום מצווה של מצווה להכותו, אני מבין שמצווה שלא להכותו. So says the Gemara, תשמע, we're going to try to bring another proof. היוצא להרג, ובא בנו ויקהו וקיללו. Imagine a person is being taken out to be killed. His own son comes, curses him, or he hits him. He's going to be chayav. Uba acher, the son is going to be chayav. What happens now if somebody else comes and he hits him and he curses him? It's going to be patur. So you see from here, Vavina ba. So we're going to ask, right? Why is it going to be patur? We just learned it in the shiur. Exactly. Chazak baruch, doctor. He's like a dead person. We just learned it in the shiur, right? The mishmar. He's not allowed to do it. Exactly. Even after death, he's still obligated. Huh? Always. He's here and he pays attention. Vavina ba. So we asked the following question. Maishna beno umaishna acher. What's the difference between himself and somebody else? Why is it that the son is going to be chayav and somebody else is going to be patur? We're talking about that the bedin come and they tell him to go out. He doesn't go out. Meaning the shliach bedin is hitting him or cursing him to go out. And therefore it's saying that if the shliach bedin is the son, he's going to be chayav. Even though that it's being done on pi bedin, meaning like this. It's not that he had to get lashes from the bedin. He had to be killed from the bedin. But he doesn't want to leave. So when you get the police in order to get somebody out, so now the police have to come and they have to get him out. So he's the policeman. He's the guy that has to get him out. So when he's going to come and hit his father in such a case, even though it was done on pitzivui bedin, but it's not the lashes that we're talking about. It's because he has to take him out to be killed. But then again, it's going to be a asur. So therefore here, there's going to be a question against Rav Sheshat that he says is mutar. So Rav Sheshat mukilam b'she'em esarvim lo letseta. They're hitting him not because of betin, and that's why he's going to be chayav. So says the Gemara. So if so, why is somebody else going to be patur? So he says acher gavra katilahu. This is what the doctor answered before. Somebody else, he's hitting somebody that's already killed. He's a dead man walking. So since he's a dead man walking, there's nothing there. You hit him. Okay, he's already a dead man. He's going to be killed in 2 minutes. The Amar of Sheshat b'yeshuv yashen umet chayav. Says the Gemara, but 1 second. What happens if somebody comes and they embarrass a guy that's sleeping and then he died from within his sleep? Should he be chayav to pay the guy that died any money for embarrassment? The guy didn't even find out. The guy was sleeping. You embarrassed him. Right? There's a few people there around. You embarrassed him. And then what did you do? And then, right, the guy died. So anyway, the guy didn't even know that you embarrassed him. He died in his sleep. So you're going to be, here it says you're going to be chayav. So why would he be chayav? Yeah, there's nothing here. Yeah, why would you be chayav? So answers the Gemara, no. You hit him. But it was she'ena shaveh pruta. If it's not shaveh pruta, you can't obligate him money. Remember, anything in the Torah always has to be shaveh pruta. If it's not shaveh pruta, it's nothing. It's like, for example, I'm going to come and I'm going to do something, right? All right, but it's only going to be shaveh pruta. You understand? If it's going to be less than shaveh pruta, it's nothing. Yeah, huh? If it's not worth the shaveh pruta, so therefore it's not considered anything. Whether it's stealing, what did they do in Sodom? They were stealing less than shaveh pruta. So, for example, you had a turkey, you had a chicken. I would pluck one feather. Can you obligate me money for plucking one feather? No, but I wouldn't. It wouldn't be only me. I would do it. I would do it. He would do it. He would do it. He would do it. Everybody does it. Now it doesn't have any feathers. Now what happens? It dies. So now you want to take somebody to Betin. Who do you take to Betin? You cannot, because each person did less than shaveh pruta, so it's worthless. What are you going to obligate? Obligate for what? For taking off a feather? But at the end of the day, the rooster died. So they were all patur. So they all did tricks in order to get out of doing damages and doing all these things and becoming patur. That's exactly what happened here. But 1 second, according to Rabbi Ami and the name of Yochanan, you still get lashes. You're right, I can't obligate you money, but you still get lashes. So here I could come and I'm going to obligate you lashes. So says my patur de kamar. What does it mean the patur? Patur mi mamon. You mean patur from money. Right? When it says patur, it doesn't mean from lashes. It means money. You're right. It's going to be patur from money. So it's much for the son is going to be obligated to pay. So he's obligated to pay the money. Okay? So says the Gemara, you're right. Ella bedino, we're talking about in his judgment. We're talking about the judgment. Okay? Ella, but rather, when we're talking about somebody else, so he says like this, the reason why it says patur, the Makab is the pasuk says, you're not allowed to curse somebody that's in your nation. That's only that somebody's doing, acting like your nation. Right? But here, he's not doing it, meaning that if somebody's going to be taken out to be killed, he's obviously not acting properly. So the fact that he's not acting properly, if you come and you curse him, there's no avera. There's no isur. Why? It has to be in your nation that you're not allowed to you're not allowed to curse. If he's not doing ma'aseh amecha, he's not amecha. Understand? He's not amcha. Why? If he's not behaving, he's not amcha. Okay? Fine. Says the Gemara, hatinach klala. That's going to be good if we're talking about klala. He says, haka minana. What about haka? Meaning, it says in the Torah, v'nasiv amecha lo taor, it means there's only an isur to curse somebody that's acting like you guys. The question now is, what about if somebody is going to come and they are going to hit them? How do you know he's going to be patur? So it says the Gemara, the makshinan hakal klala. We're making a kesh. Some people love making a keship. So you're making a kesh, right? Makish haka'a the klala. Just like by klala, there's no isur if you curse somebody that's not acting like a Jew. So to by hitting, there's no isur from hitting somebody that's not acting like a Jew. Because it says, v'nasib ba'amecha, it has to be oseh ma'aseh amecha. He's doing the actions of your nation. So if there's no isur, so if so, says the Gemara, Benonani, so the son should also be patur then. So says the Gemara, Kedaman of Pinchas, just like Pinchas says, B'shasat tshuva, he made tshuva. Hachanami, so to here, he did tshuva. So says the Gemara, I don't understand you. If he did tshuva, is he now doing ma'aseh amecha? Yes, he did tshuva, he retracted, he repented. So if he repented, why in the world now is going to be patur? So he says, Amar Rav Madi says, B'amecha bimkom she'b'amecha. What does that mean? Somebody that's fitting to be b'amecha, bimkom amecha. What does that mean? When you're coming and you're taking him out to be killed, there's not ra'ui litkayem. So if you're going to come and you're going to hit him, or you're going to hit him or curse him, you're patut from lashes. Why? The guy's a dead man, as we already said. So he says, so to the son is the same thing. So why not? We're talking about after death. I'm going to ask you a question. Is a person obligated in kibud avayim after death? Of course. After the father or mother dies. Of course. Right? Even more. The Zohar HaKadosh says even more. So therefore, right. Exactly. But there's a whole question about that. On the father. But okay. But the concept though is that there does exist the mitzvah of kibud avayim even after death. So because of that, he says, so to hear, that means even if the guy's considered a dead man, the son's still not allowed to curse him or kill him, right? And to curse him or hit him. So because of that, that's why it's going to be a soul. So my havela. So what's the maskana? Amaravuna v'chintana v'rishmel lakol en ben aset shliach la'aviv la'kotol kalo chutz me'mesit. Kadei amra Torah lo tachon l'selulah. Like this. There's only one case where the son could be a shaliach to give lashes or to curse his father. When it says cursing here, it means putting him in nidui. Because when they put him in nidui, it's like a curse. Right? There's only one case that a son is allowed to be the shliach against his father. You know what case that is? Mesitu mediach. Mesitu mediach is somebody that causes somebody else to do avodah zarah. The Torah says, lo tachmol v'lo techaseh alav. You're not allowed to cover up for him, and you're not to have mercy on him. You have to be achzari on him. That's the only case. So that's the only case where the son is allowed to be against the father. Other than that, the son can never go against the father. But in this case, you're allowed to. Okay? Mishnah Pehemud Bet. Mishnah says, we just learned that if a person hates the father and the mother, he's not going to be chayav until he makes a wound. Right? Remember, the wound means that there has to be blood, internal blood. There has to be something that you see a wound. So this is a chumrah that if somebody curses more than makesh, if somebody curses his father after death, he's going to be chayav mitah. But if he's going to hit his father after death, he's going to be patur. Why? Because after mitah, there's no chabura. Meaning after death, there's no chabura. So therefore, if he hits his father after death, he's actually going to be patur. If he's going to curse his father after death, he's going to be chayav. Says the Gemara, Tanu Rabbanan, we learned in the Braita. Aviv ve'imo kilel. What does that mean? We're talking about, why does it say that ki ish asher yikalel et aviv et imo mot yumat, aviv ve'imo kilel? Why did it add the words that he cursed his father and mother? Coming to teach you that if he cursed and the father and the mother, even after death, he's chayav. So says the Gemara, shiachol hoil v'chayav b'makeh chayav b'mikalel. I would have thought to say that just like he's going to be chayav if he hits him, he's chayav to be mekalel. Mama keno chayim chayav lechayim. So kimekalel is going to be chayav lechayim. Kal v'chomer, it's going to be a kal v'chomer the other way around. What does that mean? I would have thought to say that just like if you hit afterwards, right, you're not going to be chayav because it's only mechayim. So if you curse, you're not going to be chayav. It's only mechayim. So if you curse the parents, it's only chayav if they're mechayim. וממה כשעשה שלא כעמך בעמך כבעמך לא חייב בו לאחר מיתה, מקלל שלא עשה בו בעמך כבעמך, right? אין עוד דין שלא חייב בו לאחר מיתה, תלמוד לומר אביו אמו קילל לאחר מיתה. What does that mean? We wanted to make a קל וחומר. What was the קל וחומר? The Torah equated, right? עושה מעשה עמך to עושה מעשה עמך, meaning that whether it's going to be the father that he's a rasha or not a rasha, it's the same halacha, selam mishos. Meaning, a father, we don't care if he's a rasha or not, it's asur, always asur. Even if he's doing reshut, if he's a rasha, you're not allowed to curse your father, you're not allowed to hate your father. So, right? No, 1 second. Well, that was only because of the Shliach Betin, and again, because it's a Mesita Mediach. We're not talking about that now, right? So now he comes and he says, Lo chayev bo la'achar mita, right? And still, you're not going to be chayav la'achar mita. And when you hit your father, it's after mita, there's no death, there's nothing. Because it's after mita. So I would have thought to say that the same halacha applies to klala. If somebody curses his father or mother after death, it's nothing. Kamash Malan comes teach you avivi mo kilel la'achar mitan is still going to be chayav. So hani chal Rabbi Yonatan, that's going to be good according to Rabbi Yonatan. The miyatel lekra, as it's written extra in the pasuk avivi mo. But according to Rabbi Yoshia, Michael, what are you going to say then? So he comes and he says, right, that he holds that there's no yitur, there's no extra. So he says the time was we learned on a Braita. Ish. What does it mean ish? Matamu lomar ish. What does it come to teach you ish? Lerabot bat tumtum vandroginos. This is coming to include a bat, a tumtum, and androginos. What does that mean? We know that it only says a man that comes and curses his father or hits his father. What happens right now if it's the good daughter? Or if it's going to be a tumtum, it's covered over. You don't know if it's a boy or girl. Or androginos means he has both, right? Also male and also female. So that they're going to come and they're going to mekalel et aviv et imo. Eni el aviv imo, aviv shelo imo shelo aviv minayin. How do we know that it's the other one, that it's going to be the father but not the mother not the father? How do we know that it's also going to be asur? Tamolomar aviv imo kilel. What does that mean? Aviv kilel imo kilel. Which means the pasuk is coming and telling you that asheri kalel et aviv, and then it says aviv imo kilel. So we're making a dirasha that even if he came and he cursed the father, or whether he cursed the mother by itself, you're still chayav. Meaning, I would have had a havamina, you're not chayav until you curse both. Both. Because it says, Asheri kalel et aviv ve'et imo. Shtehem comes to teach you aviv imo, or the father or the mother. It's not shtehem. It's one or the other. Okay? Rabbi Yonatan omer, mashma shneim ke'echad. It's mashma, you have to do both of them together. Umashma echad ve'echad b'fnei atzmo, each one. Ad shifro lecha katuv yachtav. Meaning, when you have in the Torah something that sometimes it's mashma, that you need both together. Meaning you have to do avivimo, you have to curse both of them together. And it's also mashma benifrad, each one separately. It's supposed to be benifrad until the Torah tells you yachdav. Until the Torah tells you that it has to be together. Meaning when you have the two different things together, what is the status quo? It has to be separate. Unless yachdav has to group them together. So says the Gemara Minala, how do you know that then? How do you know that you're going to be mekalel aviv? After mita, you're still going to be chayav. So he says, nafkale, he learns it from kalel aviv imo mot yumat. Right? He's learning it from the pasuk where it says, you have the person that curses the father and the mother, he's going to die. Right? What does that mean? It's extra. Why is it extra? To teach you that when the person is going to be mekalel, even after mita, he's still chayav. V'idach, the other one, he needs it to add in a tumtum v'droginos and a bat. Meaning, when I come and I teach you that it says kilel aviv imo, it doesn't say anymore ish shekilel. When I come and I say ish, what am I teaching you? A man. When you came and the end of the pasuk said aviv imo kilel, that's going on everybody. Because even a daughter, if she curses her father, maybe I can't learn it from ish shekilel et aviv imo, but I can learn it from aviv imo kilel. So therefore, it was extra to teach you that if the daughter curses, a tumtum or droginos curse, they're also going to be chayav. So ask the Gemara, why don't you say ish? It's a double expression. If you have a double expression, maybe that's what it's coming to include. Meaning this. If it only said ish, so I know it's a man and not an isha. Why does it say ish? So says the Gemara, Dibra Torah kilshom bnei adam. Sometimes the Torah speaks like human beings. What does that mean? Meaning the Torah many times will use the terminology that many times, sometimes you use the double word twice. Like, I'll never do this. Right? What? Motumat. So that double expression is not coming to teach you to exclude something or do. Sometimes Torah just speaks like that. So you can't learn from there something else. I mean, you can't say, if it said ish by itself, I learn one thing. If it says ish, it's also bat. No. The Torah was just speaking stam. So you can't learn from there. Velitni, so we ask, Chomer b'makesh b'makalel. Shamakeh sabo shelo kamacha b'mecha ma she'en ken b'makalel. Says, 1 second, but why don't we learn also the Mishnah, the Chumrah of the makeh? We said that by cursing, it's only if they're doing ma'aseh mecha that you're going to be chayav. But by hitting, even if it's not going to be ma'aseh mecha, you're going to be chayav. So it says the Gemara Kasavar, we hold makshina nakal leklala. We make a kesh makish akal leklala. So it's the same thing. Salam nishof. The b'diuk otodovar. So lema hani hani tonight. What do I just say? This is a machlok tonight. Like hani tonight. What does that mean? It says the tani chada we learned. Huti. Atam mitzuveh ala ka'ato. You're right. You're not allowed to hit him. But you're allowed to curse him. Another one says, there's no problem. You could hit him or curse him, there's no problem. So Savrua, we thought to say, but we thought that the kuti was geremet. Right? Remember the Kutin were people that they converted to Judaism. And there's a machloket in the Gemara that when they convert because of truthfulness, gere emet, they were emet, or gere arayotem. They only did it because of the lions. The lions were coming and killing all these goyim. So they went and they converted, now they're Jewish, and now they stopped getting killed. So therefore the question is, they're not doing it for a good reason. So therefore, are they gere arayot or gere emet? Now, if they didn't do it for a good interest, they're not real converts. So that's the question here. Here is saying, we are understanding the kutim are gere emet. So is that not the machloka between them? The more so more so we don't make a ka. And so no, lo makshina nakala klala. We do not make hekesh between hitting and cursing. And here the machloket is kutim gere emet or gere arayoten. Are they really real converts? Or are they converts just whatever it is, right? Mickey Mouse converts, exactly. So if so, hani detalila. That's what we learned. The shor, right? The shoro is like Israel. What does that mean? We're learning that if right now you have a shore of a kuti goring a shore of Israel or shore of Israel goring a shore of kuti, if the shore nogeach, right, there's a shore tam, you have to pay chatzi nezek, and if it's muari, it's pay nezek shalem. Now, if you're going to tell me gere arayotem, so 1 second, it has to be like a shore of a goy. It's not a shore of a goy. Shmamina be'kesha pligi. So it comes out that that's not the machloket. And really, the machloket is: do you make a hekesh or not make a hekesh? One more time. What is the hekesh? It says in the Torah, "V'nasi v'amecha lo ta'or." A nasi in your nation, you're not allowed to curse. Says the Gemara, why does it say v'nasi v'amecha? He's doing the actions of your nation. Meaning, if he's off the path, there's no isur of klala. There's no isur of klala. Okay, there's no isur of klala. So that's why there's no isur of klala if a person's not doing the actions of your nation. He's off the path. So there's no isur of cursing.
So if I curse Biden, it's okay.
Right? You're not allowed to curse anybody. One minute. Yeah? But a person has to. So what happens is that when a person comes now and you're going to curse somebody that's not doing the actions of your nation, there's no avera. There's no isur. What about haka? You're going to hurt somebody. You're going to hit somebody that's not doing the actions of your nations. So we're making a kesh. That's the machloket. Do you make a kesh haka'a to klala? That just like by klala, there's no isur. If he's not doing a masem zechatot to haka'a, there's no isur. Or do you say they do make the kesh or not? There's a machloket. Okay? Mishnah. Hagonev nefesh nisayel no chayav shechnisel l'shuto. If somebody kidnaps another Jew, they're not going to be chayav chenek until he puts him into his own property. Meaning, if he's just taking him, but he doesn't put him into his own property, he's still not chayav, because he didn't actually kidnap him. If you don't, man, that's like, by the way, the stealing even until nowadays, right? You know that when a person comes into a store and they're going to do shoplifting, right? Until they're outside, they're not considered shoplifting. That means even though the guy comes and he puts it in his bag and you're watching him, until he doesn't walk out, it's not considered shoplifting. That's something else, right? So he says, Rabbi Yehuda says, until he actually use him. He has to actually use him. What happens if you steal your own son? Rabbi Yishmael says you're going to be chayav. Chachamim said you're going to be patur. What happens if you stole a chetzi eved chetzi ben chorin? Rabbi Yehuda says you're going to be chayav, and Chachamim said you're going to be patur. So says the Gemara, Tanakama lo bay imud. Says what? I don't understand. According to Tanakama, you don't have to use the Jew in order to be chayav chenek. Remember, we're talking about somebody kidnapping somebody. So usually they kidnap them and then they use them for something, right? So what? We're talking about that you don't need to use them. So Amar Ravacha Bered Rava Imur pachom shaveh pruta. The machloka between them is one of them, if he uses him something which is not shaveh pruta. Remember, if something is not shaveh pruta, it's nothing. So the question is, he used them, but it was less than shaveh pruta. Okay. So by Rabbi asks, one of them he stole him, and then he sold him, right? But he sold him when he was sleeping. What's halacha? Or machar isha lubara, you sold a woman for the ubar, not for her, for the fetus. What's halacha? Yesh derech himur bekach. Is that normal? That meaning that it's kilu, you're using them, and then you're going to be chayav kidnapping or not? The tepukle deleka imur clause. There's 1 second, but you didn't use anything. When the woman is pregnant, you didn't use anything, or when the guy's sleeping, you didn't use anything. So answers what are you talking about? Yashen disgale isha dukma be'apeh zika, right? Derech himur bekach, or in derech himur. So the question is that normal or not normal of using or not? What's halacha? We don't have an answer. No, we don't have an answer. Right? Tanu Rabbanan, we have another question. Right? We learned in a Braita. Ki matzeh, when you're going to find a person, that somebody steals somebody else. That's only a man. What about a woman? What does a woman kidnaps? A woman comes and she kidnaps. Right? How do you know that a woman is going to be chayevet if she stole another woman? Meaning, we learned vegonev ish, right? Vegonev ish means vegonev is stam. It doesn't matter who's the one that's stealing. So even if a woman steals, it's still considered stealing. But it says vegonev ish, you stole a man. What happens if a woman steals a woman? Gonev is including even a woman, because a woman could steal. But it says vegonev ish. Does it say vegonev isha? So tamulomar umeta ganavahu mikomakom. In any case, meaning you have to kill them no matter what. And the other one says, "Ki matzeh ish gonev nefesh me'echav, echad gonev et haish, ve'echad gonev et haisha, ve'echad ger, ve'echad." Doesn't matter who it is, you're always going to be chayav. Meaning, any case you're going to come and you're going to steal, you're chayav. I don't care who the person you're stealing is. Doesn't matter. What happens if he stole him but he didn't sell him, or he sold him but he's still in his reshut? He's still going to be patur because he didn't leave his property. So since he didn't leave his property, he's still going to be exempt. Mecharo, if he sold him, right, to his father, to his brother, or to one of the family members, he's still going to be chayav. But if you're going to steal, right, avadim, you're going to be patur. And then we'll continue with Hashem tomorrow.